Good day, everybody. This is Menopause Taylor bringing you the state of menopause in the world today. And today I have a broadcast called Why Can't I Have My Junk Food and Vitamins Too? I teach you all sorts of things about menopause, and actually, some of it is really just about health. Some of it is good for everybody, and this is one of those broadcasts that is really good for everybody, not just for women who want to know about menopause. So gather your family and friends, listen to all this together. You will all benefit. I've been talking lately about some dietary principles for managing your menopause, and this broadcast is sort of moving us in the direction of the realm of vitamins, minerals, and dietary supplements for managing your menopause. One of the most basic messages of my broadcast is about aligning your priorities so that you don't lose sight of what's most important. You know how sometimes people say someone wants to have her cake and eat it too? I never thought that made sense because I always thought, well, what else would you do with cake other than eat it? I take things literally. But I looked it up, and what it means literally is that you can't have two things that are incompatible with one another. So we're going to talk about something that is along those same lines. In our case, we're going to talk about how you can't have your junk food and your vitamins too. Now, if you're like most people, you're probably wondering why not? I mean, all you have to do is take your vitamins out of a bottle, and that way you don't have to eat them in your food. Besides, junk food tastes so much better than wholesome vitamin-charged food, right? And with vitamins in a bottle, you can have your junk food and your vitamins too, right? Well, wrong. I'm here to tell you that's wrong. We humans are funny. We do all sorts of things that really make no sense. And then we come up with all sorts of reasons to justify the illogical things that we do. So in our desire to justify our desire to eat junk food, which has no nutritional value, we tell ourselves that taking vitamins out of a bottle will make up for it, right? But that is not true. The truth is this: taking vitamins out of a bottle is not the same as eating them in your food. In other words, you do not get the same nutritional value from a bottled vitamin as you do from vitamins that are in whole foods. Now, I know you're probably thinking you want me to go jump in a lake right now. But I'm going to hold off on that for a bit because I'm going to tell you some more. You know how flour is plain, and if you ate it all by itself, it would be awful? Would you just take a bag of flour and start eating the flour? Of course you wouldn't. It would be terrible. But what about flour after it's baked into a cake? Would you eat it then? Oh, it would taste much better, wouldn't it, as a cake? So as an isolated substance, the flour just isn't that great. But when you combine it with other substances, it makes it so much more appealing. Well, guess what? Vitamins that come in a bottle are like the isolated flour. When you think about it, you realize the whole fresh foods that contain vitamins don't contain just a single isolated vitamin. All fruits and vegetables contain multiple vitamins, multiple minerals, fiber, all kinds of things. A single apple, one apple, contains vitamin A, vitamin B1, vitamin B2, vitamin B3, vitamin B6, vitamin C, vitamin E, vitamin K, folate, fiber, potassium, magnesium, copper, and manganese. One apple! Taking all those vitamins in isolation is not the same thing as eating them all together in the form of an apple. Your body is masterful at using them in the forms and proportions that exist in fruit and vegetables. But when you isolate each vitamin and remove it from its original source, it's a whole different story. Your body doesn't use any vitamin in isolation the way it uses them from foods. So the whole apple is much more nutritious than all those individual vitamins in isolation. Maybe that's why people say an apple a day keeps the doctor away. But you're getting the gist of this. So taking your vitamins out of a bottle instead of getting them from nutritious foods is trying to have your junk food and your vitamins too. And it doesn't work. And on top of that, when you eat junk food instead of eating whole nutritious food, you make things even worse. There's actually a word for isolating things. It's called reductionism. And it refers to the fact that we reduce the nutritional value of your food by taking the nutrients out and isolating them one by one. So reductionism is any time you isolate something. The opposite of reductionism is holism, which is spelled Holeism, but I wish it were spelled Wholeism. It refers to leaving foods in their natural state and eating all their nutrients together, like the whole apple. Isolating vitamins and minerals implies that the food itself isn't that important. It implies that you really can have your cake and eat it too, but you can't. Holism implies that the food itself is just as important as the vitamins and minerals it contains, and it is. It's kind of like taking things out of context, you know? If I were to yank a child by the arm, you would think I'm abusive, right? But what if I yanked the child by the arm in order to keep him from running out in front of a moving car? When you put it in context, I go from being an abuser to being a rescuer, right? So what do you think? Do you believe you can get as much nutrition by eating your cheeseburger and cake along with a multivitamin as you can get by eating vegetables and fruit? Are they equal? Does the multivitamin erase the damage done by the junk food? Do the fruits and vegetables have more vitamins and minerals than the multivitamin? Do you think it really is possible to have your cake and eat it too? Or does that expression mean that those two things are completely incompatible? And that it's not possible to have your junk food and your vitamins too? See, this entire series of education that I provide is all about learning facts so that you can make wise choices for yourself. Everything, absolutely everything depends on your priorities. And the lesson today is that you really can't have your cake and eat it too. You have to choose. You just cannot have it both ways. Unfortunately, we tend to exercise confirmation bias a lot. Do you know what that is? Confirmation bias is when you latch on to things that confirm your opinion or worldview, and you ignore or discount all the things that don't. Another way of describing it is to quote Paul Simon, who said, "A man hears what he wants to hear and disregards the rest." Of course, women do that too. So, like it or not, you are much better off eating a diet of fresh fruits and vegetables that contain all the vitamins and minerals you need than you are by eating a junky diet and taking your vitamins and minerals out of a bottle. It's really, really that simple. I know you don't want it to be that simple, but many people would rather have a simple lie than a complex truth. But I deliver facts, and our society tends to feed you a lot of fibs that make you think you can have your cake and eat it too, but you can't. And it's a lot better for you to know that from the start, because there is nothing that can substitute for a healthy, wholesome diet. You know, I do one-on-one consultations with women all the time, and it's very interesting how we justify our behaviors. And when women will say things like, well, I eat a pretty healthy diet, and I'll say, well, tell me more about that. What do you mean by that? I mean, I deal with facts. I want to help them, and I can't help them if I have no idea what they mean by the words they use. And many of them will say, well, I take all my vitamins and minerals, but my diet isn't that good. But the bottom line is they equate them. I mean, they said they have a pretty healthy diet, but then they contradicted themselves and said, my diet isn't that good. But the compensation with the vitamins and minerals out of a bottle is what makes them think or even come to be able to state that they have a very healthy diet. And it's unfortunate that we fall for this belief that we can actually eat all our junk and fast food and processed food and terrible food and still have a healthy diet, because really you can't. It's like packages of vitamins and minerals every time you eat any fruit or vegetables that contain vitamins and minerals. They're packaged for you. They're packaged perfectly. They're packaged in the perfect proportions and in the perfect forms, and they work together in a way that none of them can work alone. So your body knows how to handle them and knows what to do with them way better than it knows what to do when you take a handful of a bunch of different vitamins and minerals out of a bottle. And there's processing that goes into those vitamins and minerals that come out of a bottle too, you know. It's not like they are the normal natural product. They are processed too. So it's just a matter of degree. And in this world where we process everything, it's like we've taken all the good foods, stripped them of their nutrients, processed them, and then of course you see the word fortified everywhere. It's like they're trying to put back what was originally in the food by fortifying it. But it would make so much more sense if no one fooled with it in the first place. If food wasn't processed, if that food wasn't adulterated by trying to make it different, make it more rapid, make it fast food, make it easy, packaged, whatever you want to call it, it ruins the quality of the vitamins and minerals that are in the food. So the more you can go for the pure natural foods that haven't been changed at all. If it's in a package, it probably has been changed. Just go for the stuff that's fresh and healthy, and eat it raw or learn how to cook it up a little bit. Even I can cook up some fruits and some vegetables, and I am not a cook. I am a disaster in the kitchen, but even I know how to saute a few vegetables. And I just pour a bunch of olive oil on them, and they are just absolutely delicious. And so the more you can do that kind of thing to get your fruits and your vitamins and minerals, the better. And it's getting harder and harder and harder for people to eat that way because, unfortunately, the processed foods are the cheaper foods. The more processed they are, the cheaper the products, and the less they are similar to the original food. Just look at how many packages have the word real on them. Real this and real that. Why would they have to write real this and real that? I mean, does that make any sense? I mean, some cereal with blueberries in it, it'll say real blueberries. Doesn't that make you stop and think, why would they feel the need to write real on there? Because most things don't have anything real in them anymore. It's a rarity to find anything with real ingredients. So stick to the real thing. It's very simple. I know you don't like hearing this because, people love their convenient foods and their junk foods and their fast foods and pizzas or whatever you prefer. We love that stuff. And unfortunately, it's gotten to where we've trained our taste buds to think that that is what food is supposed to taste like. That's not what food is supposed to taste like. Food is supposed to taste like the fresh